A speed of about 72, almost 73 miles an hour. Total time 2 minutes 21.60. So Richter is second. Well, now what can Horst Schonau of East Germany do here on his second descent? Third after the first run. He'll be looking for a good start. Did a 5.64. Andreas Kirchner, the brakeman, producing the power and the thrust at the start. 5.66, so he's 200ths of a second slower. This man who took the silver medal in the two-man at Cortina a year ago. Small, bespectacled figure, Schonau, 32 years of age. They call him the Professor. And Kirchner, an army sergeant. Now the East German number one after Bernhard Germischhausen broke a collarbone in training. I wasn't on the bob run, incidentally, and can't compete here in the two-man. Did a new track record during practice, but only held it for about 15 minutes before Eric Scherer went down and improved on it. He's trying to thread that bob down. It's like putting a train through the eye of a needle, down this ice rut, just 27 yards, short of a mile, threads its way down the mountain at St. Moritz. 1:10.04 is the time he'll need to do to take the lead. He won't be far off that. A 1:10.47. That puts Schonau in second place. A finishing speed for him there of excess of 74 miles an hour. So he goes into second place now, ahead of his countryman Detlef Richter, who was second, but behind Scherer of Switzerland, who still leads. This was the leader after the first run, Hans Hildebrand in Switzerland too, with his brakeman Uli Backley. 1 minute 10.28 on the left is the target time to retain first place. Did a start of 5.57 on his first run, and he's quicker at 5.54. He's not as quick as Scherer, but he proved himself better on the drive down. This rut of ice, just 27 yards short of a mile, which drops down the mountainside, 422 feet from start to finish here at St. Moritz. Through sunny, 29.92, not as quick as he was on his first run. And indeed not as quick as Scherer was at this stage either. So Hildebrand might have to sacrifice first place here. Through the Little Kink, and now the important setup for bridge. Get high early, off tidily, as the photographers lean forward dangerously for their photographs. Accelerating down that 1 in 6 gradient into the finishing curve. Can he get inside that time? No, he can't. 1:10.50. Hildebrand goes second. He's lost first place. He lifted a fist there, clenched, and I think he might have thought that he'd done enough to stay in first place, but he's now being told that he hasn't. 120 kilometers an hour is 75 miles an hour. So Hildebrand is second behind Eric Scherer. So there's the positions after the first two runs here in the two-man World Championships at St. Moritz. Eric Scherer, the Olympic champion from Lake Placid, leads from Hans Hildebrand in Switzerland too, who's in second place, just over 2/10 of a second behind him. Then come the two East Germans, Horst Schonau third, and Detlef Richter in fourth place. And looking down the minor placings, Great Britain too are 13th. That's Major Jonathan Woodall. And the other British sled, Malcolm Lloyd, not in the top 20.
This past weekend, the fastest two-man bob teams in the world have been tackling this perilous run at St. Moritz in pursuit of the World Championship. After 3 runs, the Swiss #1 Bob leads, with Switzerland #2 second and East Germany 1 in third place. Here now reporting the 4th and final run, Tony Gubber.
This, the first of the medal contenders to make his 4th and final descent here at St. Moritz. Hans Hilterbrand, the brakeman Uli Backley, in second place as they make this 4th and final descent. Now, what sort of a start can they get? A 5.60. Well, that's the slowest of any of their runs. But the sun is quite high in the sky here now at St. Moritz, coming over the mountain tops, and is making the run slower. Hilterbrand is certain to go into first place, whatever time he does here, because the other medal contenders have yet to go. Dropping from start to finish down this bob run, a height of 422 feet, and the total distance 27 yards, just short of a mile. Through the horseshoe, 180 degrees left-handed, then round telephone, and back into the forest. One or two of the crowds getting dangerously close to the edge of the run. It only needs a slip, and it will be like falling in front of a runaway train. Coming around bridge, speed of the sled increasing all the time, under the railway arches and down the steepest gradient, 1 in 6 descent, a top speed of about 74 miles an hour. In fact, it's over 74 miles an hour, and a time of 1 minute 10.67. Well, that's a very good time for Hilterbrand in these slower conditions. He goes into first place, but Scherer in Switzerland 1 has yet to go, and so too have the 2 East German crews. The prestige of British bobsled resting on the shoulders now of Major Jonathan Woodall and Paddy Breeden, the crew of Great Britain 2. Only in 13th place as they make this 4th and final descent here at St. Moritz, where Britain had its finest hour in the sport of bobsleigh when Nash and Dixon took the Olympic gold medal in 1964. But those days seem a long way off. 5.75 was the push start, which equals their slowest. But the run is getting slower as the sun climbs higher. Johnny Woodall, who's now 36, and deposed as Britain's #1 bobsled driver by Malcolm Lloyd, who won the British Championship here a few weeks ago when amazingly 29 sleds contested the Stuyvesant British Championships. 6 feet and 6 inches tall, this man, who's with the 4th 7 Royal Dragoon Guards and who represented Britain in 3 Winter Olympic Games. But 13th place really isn't good enough. Just over 1 minute 12 seconds he's been on his previous runs, and he's there again. 1 minute 12.13, which is his 3rd fastest descent. Finishing speed of 72 miles an hour puts him in 2nd place, but he'll be pushed back from that when the other crews come down. Really, the aim for Johnny Woodall was to try and get in single figures, to get in the top 10, and it looks as though he'll finish just outside that place. Inside the helmet, the bespectacled face of Horst Schonau, the driver of East Germany's #1 sled, the brakeman Andreas Kirchner. These two in bronze medal position as they prepare for this final run. Can they stay there, or can they improve and get into silver? The burst of effort from Kirchner, this army sergeant at the back, the brakeman. 5.64 has been their fastest start so far. 5.66, well, that's only 0.02 of a second slower. They've been consistently around that time. Schonau, who they call the Professor, this 32-year-old locksmith, was the silver medalist at Cortina, but now is East Germany's #1 two-man driver, with Bernhard Germischhausen, the world champion, absent here, with a broken collarbone that he sustained in training, although that wasn't actually on the bob run. The run at St. Moritz, just 27 yards, short of a mile. The drop from start to finish, 422 feet. And perhaps 45 miles an hour as he goes through telephone and and around Shamrock, and the sled accelerating all the time. Around Devil's Dyke, and then this awkward little setup for Bridge. He's certain to go into second place behind Hildebrand, who's the leader at the moment here, Schonau. But of course, Eric Scherer, the favourite, has yet to go. And so too has Richter, the driver of the other East German sled. A 1:10.49 is quick. Finishing speed of just under 74 miles an hour. Total time, 4 minutes, 42 seconds dead. And second place at this stage for Schonau. Is this to be the gold medal run? Eric Scherer, at the top here at St. Moritz, knows that he has time to play with and can still win this two-man world championship. 1 minute, 11.42. On the left-hand side of the screen is the target time to take the gold medal. It's brakeman at the back, Max Rube. This is the man who's led since the second run. 5.42 has been his quickest start. The 5.44 is really quick in these now warm conditions. As the sun gets higher, the ice begins to melt. We've seen other crews going slower, but this man, Scherer, can really thread this sled down here with perfection. The four steel runners underneath the sled, 2 at the front and 2 at the back, thundering on the ice. Sound of the sled rolling down the side of the mountain, warning the spectators of its arrival. Through the horseshoe, quickly in and quickly out, 43.96. So he's quicker than Hans Hildebrand was at that stage. Scherer is well on his way to taking this two-man world title. Looking early for the exits to the bends, wants to get high on Bridge early, off smoothly. Underneath the railway arch, and now dropping down this 1 in 6 gradient. No danger at all through the flags which mark the finish. 1:10.89, well inside the target, and that's the mark of a master.
And there's confirmation of the result. The Swiss taking the top 2 places, East Germany 1 in bronze position, and the 2 British Bobs finishing 13th and 23rd.
Pointed to be 23rd in the two-man competition. This final day of practice here at St. Moritz, he's really got to look for a fast time. Corey Brown and Howard Smith, the 2 crewmen. The brakeman at the back is Peter Brignani. Malcolm Lloyd so delighted to be our #1 driver, having been competing in bobsleigh for so many years. Was disappointed to be so far down in the two-man competition, and I know that he's got the bit between his teeth. Goes to Nash and Dixon here. It is only practice, but of course it's good for the confidence if you can do a good time into the horseshoe. Oh, he's got it wrong on horseshoe. He tried to come off too soon, Malcolm Lloyd, and the pressure forced him back up. Well, there's about half the run still to go down. There's always a possibility that they might get back on their runners, but it's unlikely in the four-man bob because it's just too heavy. Well, this is the mistake that Lloyd makes. He looks for the exit of horseshoe too early. The sheer velocity of the sled forces it back up onto the wall, and it isn't there, and so the sled turns on its side. And that's a sight that puts the heart in the mouth. Despite the very conscious attempts here at St. Moritz to keep this bobsled World Championships free of the tragedy which marred the competition at Cortina a year ago, there have been signs during practice for the four-man competition that the crews are finding the run a little difficult. The exits have been made long and safe. We've seen the crew of Great Britain crash, also Sweden, and one of the Americans have crashed also in practice. And although they're all right, there's no doubt that the 26 crews from 16 nations are well aware that this run at St. Moritz will have to be treated with respect. On the right as we look, Silvio Giubellina, this 28-year-old Swiss engineer, driver of Switzerland's #1 sled. But watch the brakeman at the back, Heinz Stedler. Although he's the brakeman and he's pushing at the back, watch him very forward, and he actually sits in number 2 position, which is an extraordinary way to start. 5.45 is the quickest start for the 50-meter push, and Jubilina is trying to get the track record back. Well, he held it before the competition began, but he's seen Schonau of East Germany go down and shave almost half a second off it. And what can Switzerland 1 produce here? .29.09, so he's quicker than Schonau. So at this stage, Jubilina is on his way to setting a new track record. Around Horseshoe, very quickly on and quickly off. And he's still quicker. Urs Saltzman sits at number 3, although he pushes at 2. The brakeman, or rather the man sitting in the brakeman's position, is Rico Friethmuth. Now let's look at the time. 18.25 on the left. Look at that, he's got inside 1 minute 8 seconds. 1 minute 7.58 for Jubilina. That is a new track record, and I doubt that we'll see anybody get inside that. The crew of Switzerland 1 begin to celebrate. And after the first run, and they've got to make 4 to take the title, they must be full of confidence. A deal of British interests in the sled of Canada 1, because it's driven by Jim Carr at the front, who was born in Winchester and used to play rugby for Kent Schools before emigrating to Canada in 1973 and taking up the sport of bobsled. 5.69 for the push start for Jim Carr, who tells me that he still has a lot of relatives in England. Few slivers of ice on the back of the sled as they went into the approach of Nash and Dixon. Oh, Jim Carr has made the mistake on Horseshoe that was done by Malcolm Lloyd earlier. The same mistake that happened to the Brits in practice has happened to Canada 1. Well, now it's a heck of a long way down. Let's hope the crew are all right. Well, they'll certainly be shaken and bruised, and let's hope that's all. But this is the mistake. They're going into Horseshoe. Now, the point is you've got to keep your head up and look for the exit. But if you dive down too soon, the pressure of the bob forces it back up. So he's come off too soon, and although he's got the sled low, there's too much momentum. It forces the sled back up on the far wall, and then, of course, you run out of corner and drop onto the side. East Germany's number 2 sled, driven by Bernhard Lehmann. The brakeman at the back, Eberhard Weiss. Crew Roland Wetzig and Bogdan Musial. Fourth in the world 4-man competitions at Cortina a year ago. 5.40 is the second fastest start. So he's not as quick as Scherer was, but he's quicker than Jubilina's start and also Schonau.
5:40 in den Sunny.
This 33-year-old student, as he calls himself, Bernhard Lehmann, brakeman in the 76 Olympics behind Neymar. 28.93, so he's the quickest man so far at this stage. Well, are we going to see the track record go again? Pulling 3G force very quickly into and out of Horseshoe and around telephone, 42.45, so he's still quicker. East Germany's number 2 sled, the fastest at this stage. But we saw Scherer lose it on the second part of the run, slipping under the railway, down the steepest part of the course, a 1 in 6 gradient. The time on the left was the time of Jubilina. Can he get inside it? He can't, but he's only just outside. 1 minute 7.89 seconds puts Bernhard Lehmann in second place, and he becomes the second man to come down this bob run at St. Moritz inside 1 minute 8 seconds. So the East German